By death, I'm talking about the slow progression of illnesses, the slow progression of physical, mental, and then of course sudden deaths. By any means, I am not a doctor. However, I do definitely believe that manifestation of how we think, how those energies multiply and multiply and multiply and let our timelines merge into a specific destination is definitely something that we all need to learn right now. Life is speeding up, therefore energies are speeding up. So whatever you're manifesting in your mind, you will manifest right now in the real time. Some people will have the worst diets. They'll smoke and everything, but they somehow still survive every illnesses that you could possibly get. They don't get a cold, they don't get anything. While others, on the other hand, they stay very clean, germ-free, eat very right, but somehow continue to still get illnesses. And I've been on both sides of the coin. In spirituality, we say that the soul has a choice on when it enters this lifetime and when it leaves this lifetime. Whatever we think and believe, we start to behave and act towards those things. Let's say, for example, we have quite a lot of negative feelings about a specific subject. We also need to remember that just because it's not conscious to you, okay? So you might think, oh, everything's fine, and then all of a sudden you get an illness. Your subconscious is the thing that's continuously ruminating on that belief. Repressed emotions cause almost all of our thoughts. And then of course the repressed ones are usually the ones that create a lot of illnesses for everybody. For me, I had like constant throat issues for the longest as a child. And I'd always have like issues with my womb area. And the more research I did, it's because one, I never had a voice. I need to use my voice. I've experienced so much in life, and the fact that I was keeping that closed, I'd always have illnesses, go to the doctor, but they don't see anything at the doctors. They're like, that's weird that you've had this illness, but there's no germ or anything. And then with my womb, the same thing. I'd have this pain, and it was a time period where I told myself I shouldn't be doing anything creative because I like sciences and whatever, so let me leave this creative thing. I don't like the fact that it takes so much of my energy, blah, blah, blah. So I was shutting down that creative center of my life and also closing down my voice. But it didn't start with those symptoms. It started from my childhood, of course, with my throat, because I wasn't allowed to express myself. My opinions didn't matter. Things just happened and I kept it bottled in. And then with my womb, I didn't have the ability to express myself. I came from a culture that was very strict. So the symptoms of constantly having a throat issue and cramp issues and the things that I did to continue the trauma, and then of course the root issue is what actually causes these illnesses. Therefore, as time progresses, the more you keep not healing this emotional and body centers like the chakras. Chakras are very much aligned with the emotional states that we have. So wherever your body hurts or wherever your body is suffering from or deteriorating, where the cells are dying, you have to think, like, what does that area represent to me? So with my throat, it was my voice and my expression, and the fact that I love to talk, but I never talked. And I had to look at, when did this start? So that's like slow illnesses. When we talk about sudden deaths, so spiritually, nothing happens to anyone that is not consented, okay? This is, I know, controversial, and a lot of us are gonna be quite mad at this actually, but none of us really know the true power of our soul, okay? We are so powerful. This is why Delulu is the Sululu, and I 100% agree with this, because all we really are is the soul and the imagination. When we close our eyes, we return back to the universe. This is who we actually are, and everything that we see around us when we open our eyes is an imagination of our own creation. Therefore, when there's a sudden death, or like both my father and my mother died very suddenly, you might think, why would I still think that death is a choice? But this is because of my own progression within psychology, knowing everything that I know about how the mental, how the emotional affects the way we think, and then the way we imagine our reality to be. It all starts with the energy that we vibrate, which is emotions. And then emotions will cause many, many different thoughts, just like that. So if we can handle the emotional state, we'll be handling the energy state, which will then determine our external energies, who we hang out with, who we love, what we eat, where we go, what we see. Like, if you read David Hawkins' Letting Go, he speaks about how one person can see a homeless person, one person can see a world that's just completely trashed, and then another person can see the same thing and think that homeless person is getting his experience out of life. He's got so much freedom, blah blah blah. This, and then they see the world. They don't see trash. They see a world full of different experiences, different diversity, and different lives. It's all experience, perspective. So this is why psychology is very important alongside spirituality. Although psychology can still function without spirituality, because like I said, I was an atheist at one point, therefore I don't make my content exclusively just for spiritual people. However, it does help to understand that we are more than just a body. So, is death a choice? Yes. If you don't think so, if I've missed anything, let me know down in the comment section, because I am more than happy to have this conversation. I've kept quiet about this for a long time because it's very, very a sensitive topic for everybody. But you really truly have to understand who you are deep down to know that everything is a choice. And it might seem harsh. Things will still happen to you that you don't want. You might get hit. You might end up dying. Do you know what I mean? But it was always a choice. It was always the soul's contractual choice, or a mental energy or emotional energy that you decided, I'm okay to leave this earth at this point. Therefore, we should see death in a different way. Healing wise, there's only one way to heal any symptom, any issue. If you've read Supernatural by Joe Dispenza, that is your answer right there. How you feel is exactly what you vibrate. Sometimes if you've got emotions that are repressed and you don't have no clue about them, what you need to do is truly meditate and truly let yourself be in a place where it's silent, no distractions for 3 days, okay? See what emotions come up. What is something that you feel really uncomfortable doing? And what's more uncomfortable for one person is not going to be an uncomfortable thing for another person. So when I first went through this journey myself, the main problem for me was I couldn't sit down still and just experience myself. I couldn't listen to sad songs. I loved going out. Going out was my distraction. I loved hanging out with people. Although now it's so funny because it's the opposite way around. I've secluded myself to the point where I need to go back outside, and I'm doing that, thank God. However, I sat down and I couldn't handle what I was feeling. It was like a really empty abyss. And I told myself, you know what, I don't want to feel this. I'd rather leave this earth than feel this. But of course, it doesn't take long for your body to actually heal. It doesn't take long for your mind and your soul to fully accept you straight away. You are your soul. You are God. You are powerful. At the end of the day, I think most of us just have to sit with ourselves, okay, and really try and just ask. Just ask. I need my emotions that are repressed to express themselves now. I need this to be healed. Whatever it is, I'd love for it if it showed up in the next 3 days, 2 days, 1 day that you have free to heal and be completely exposed to your suppressed emotions. Because, I mean, not all of us have a lot of suppressed emotions. Most of us could be aware of it or not, but it's good to do this practice just in case there isn't anything that is controlling your life without you knowing it, okay? And like I said, if you want the quicker way of finding out what is something that you really want to do, but you keep telling yourself, I can't do that, that will show you the energy that you're operating on in the internal subconscious mind. This is simply the truth. Everything you experience on this planet is always by choice. Always. Even death, even suffering, everything. Yes, you're probably going to think, what about the children who are suffering? Children who are dying early. you're thinking low of children, okay? You're thinking low of every soul on this planet. Whenever you think this person is suffering, this person is suffering, you are projecting, okay? Although, I don't want to say you because we're family. Whenever I used to look at somebody who was suffering and I get really teary, especially as I travel, I always have to remind myself, this is a soul that's chosen this life. Me projecting my grief and my sadness onto them is not helping anyone. It's not helping me, it's not helping them. The only way forward is if we can start to operate on a positive, not even positive, but like on a more expansive emotion. Okay? Love sometimes hurt, but that is still expansive. I'm going to leave it here. Any questions, leave them in the comment section below because I really want to get into this and get into these conversations because it's so fundamental for the way your life goes, for the way our life goes, and which quantum we end up on. Whew. Yes, I love you guys.